This show is brought to you by me, motherfuckers. That's right. All of this equipment used to record this show, all of the syndication fees that I pay to have this video and recording posted just about everywhere I can get it. All of my time and effort spent attempting to get people to come on the show and doing research for the interviews, trying to pick up some topics. All of those things, that time and effort is all financed by me. And if you enjoy this show, I recommend going and checking out Joe Rogan's, the Joe Rogan Experience. The most recent episode, especially with him and Sam Harris, I got to tell you, it's like 4 hours of nothing but pure entertainment. I highly recommend it. If you like this show, you're definitely going to like that show. Go ahead and check it out. This is the Southern Satanist. He's terrifying, and I gotta say, brother,
I'm probably the most pleasant person you'll ever meet.
Yeah, but hail Satan.
Unless you're an asshole, fuck you.
Yeah, well, hail Satan. I'm just saying.
Shem Hamfarash.
Hail Satan. I'm not sure what that is, but I've heard it a few times.
Shem Hamfarash. Apparently, it's a combination of all the letters that make up the name of God.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I kind of dig it. So Satanism.
Yep.
What the hell is it, man?
To some, it's a religion. Others, it's a philosophy, and there's a lot of overlap within it. For the most part, like for people like me, it's mostly just philosophy. It can be used religiously. I have done it in the past before to ritualize and everything. But for me, it's mostly just a philosophy based on really the human animal. And recognizing your instincts and what is natural to you and realizing it's not something to be ashamed of. Rather, it should be embraced.
But also founded by a carny.
Yep.
He used to play pipe organ or something to that effect.
To be accurate, I mean, I'm pretty sure the philosophy has existed in other names, but Anton LaVey was the one that really canonized it into the mainstream. Yeah,
so apparently he got his ideas from watching like stage magic and listen to psychics and stuff like that. So that's where he got his influence, and also he seemed to pull a bit from Aleister Crowley, who got his influence from I think it's the Thrall Society. It's a Germanic
Thrall Society.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so that's crazy that some small Germanic cult, or whatever you want to call them, group, if you will, or what else is a cult, they've sort of influenced this modern idea. But so there's some of the ideas about the
if we want to be accurate, it's mostly made from making observations of the human condition. Like for Anton LaVey, whenever he was working in the carnivals, he would see it's even in the front book. The front of I can talk. I have coffee.
I assure you.
At the beginning of the book, the Satanic Bible, he talked about where he got some inspiration from observing how humans react. He would see these men just lusting after these erotic dancers at the carnival, and then he would see the
dancers at the carnival. What the fuck kind of carnival is he going to? I want to go.
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
Hey, this wasn't L.A. You never know.
But he would see them enjoying the carnal things of life, and then the next few days, like on a Sunday, he would see the same people repenting. So he came to the conclusion that nature will always out.
To be honest, you anything that's repressed, any sort of repressive force, like even in our lives. Come on, who is the biggest slut in high school? The preacher's daughter, right? Mm-hmm. She's the easiest lay. I mean, the preacher's daughter, simply because she's just been sexually repressed. That whole thing. So any mode of suppression just sort of it tends to have the exact opposite effect once nobody's immediately observing.
Or it can come out in other forms of life. You repress your sex drive, and it comes out as violence, which explains a lot about the Christian church.
Oh man, the Christian church—they're fun. They're a fun group of folks.
I mean, you pretty much keep yourself from having sex. I mean, you tend to get a little antsy.
But it's okay. You can beat your wife, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a rule of
so it's all
thumb.
good.
And, wives are obviously property. Just read the Bible, right?
Yeah,
right. Wives are property. I could just go get a prostitute if she's not going to put out. That's totally acceptable.
That's why I find it interesting when I look at the old religions, how women were treated like a lot more equally in those cultures, and then Christianity comes along. Well, I'm pretty sure there was some before Christianity.
Well, it's the same idea with what's going on in Iran. If you look at pictures from like the 50s and what was going on in Iran, like you had women in college and they weren't in those stupid burqas and any of that shit. They were a lot less fanatically driven. They were a lot more in this. They were not taken over by the theocracy just yet.
Yep.
And so the idea that putting the Christian theocracy over ourselves is just, or any theocracy.
Do you think we live in
matter.
a Christian theocracy?
No, I think we live in mostly an oligarchy now. I think there was a hand of Christian morality sort of in the government, and they tried to get in through the right, but now mostly both sides of government they work for the oligarchy. They work for all the businesses, all the people paying their.
Have you noticed that as the atheists and the humanists and skeptic societies, they started getting a bigger voice, how much of an outrage is coming out of the Christian right?
I know. But it's so cute. I love hearing them argue.
I hear, I talked to a fellow Satanist about it, and they say it's like the death throes of a dying animal.
Yes, that's definitely what it seems like. Well, here's my thing. Every time they seem to come out and argue and draw a line in the sand about something, they just shoot themselves in the foot.
Yep,
is exactly what they do, because they're like, oh, well, obviously homosexuals, if they take over, it's just going to be, hellfire is going to rain from the sky. And
I think we need to take all them homosexuals and put them on an island and fence them in so they can all just die off and not repopulate.
Yeah,
and get rid of all the gays.
Who was it? There was a comedian who did a joke about God sending the gays to the planet to fix overpopulation, and we're just idiots and we fucked it up.
I mean, I had that same speculation about why there's. I'm not sure if this is accurate or not, but usually the tendency to be gay, it makes it more apparent as you have more offspring. Like the one that came in latest to the offspring will have a higher tendency to be homosexual.
Really? I was not aware of that.
I don't know if that's accurate or not, so don't quote me on that.
Well, but you're the youngest of the group. Are you gay, dude?
A
little bit. That's fine, man.
A little bit.
I think I don't think that sexuality is.
I'm not really too concerned about defining it just yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm teetering.
Look, there's no black or white. There's no needle that flips to one side or the other.
Yeah.
It's a spectrum, man. You like what you like. I'll happily admit there are some dudes that legitimately look good. Mm-hmm. I can appreciate them, but I don't know. I'm not necessarily sexually attracted, but they have an appeal. I get it. When you're watching porn, you like big dicks. You don't like looking at shriveled little needle dicks. You don't just. It's not what you're into when you're watching porn. When you're watching porn, do you prefer a small dick or a big dick?
Well, I prefer a small dick because I got to put myself in that situation.
Oh, I see what you did there. Well, I don't. So what does that say?
I think someone's compensating.
I like to dream.
They want to be part of that fantasy.
I like to dream. What can I say? I like to dream.
All my D&D characters have huge swords, and
I've got a double-sided broad axe.
It's got a +3.
It's got reach.
Oh my god!
See, only D&D people will get that, and if you don't, I'm sorry, but that was hilarious. Just laugh anyway. So yeah, man. Let's get into the meat of the things. What are some of the core beliefs of Satanists, like a modern rational Satanist? Like, or a better question: have you sold your soul to the devil, sir? Because if I could, I got to tell you, I would. I'm not using it.
I've tried actually. First starting out.
Yeah. How'd it work out? He's terrible, isn't he? Never shows up, the motherfucker.
No, I mean you go whenever you read the Satanic Bible and you feel that it's accurate for your life, you tend to do stupid shit. It's kind of like a stage.
Well, yeah. I went through. I was a Wiccan for a good many years. Followed different sects. Like I went down through some of the Celtic ideas, and then strongly Norse. Followed the Norse pantheon for a good long while.
Yeah,
tried Acid True and all that kind of good stuff, and it's just you get tired of it. It's bullshit.
I mean, tend to be more of a theatrical person, so I like doing the rituals simply because it's fun and it does something for my emotions. As far as magic is concerned, I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I like maybe, but I guess why do you think maybe? Where do you? Okay, so I don't see it being not feasible. It's the same thing. My views on God.
Okay, I see. So you're.
I'm not going to necessarily say there is not one.
Right. There's no telling really what's out there.
I will say that if one does exist, it's not going to be something that humans can define.
No, and it's probably not someone who gives a shit who you sleep with or where you put your cock.
I tend to take the H.P. Lovecraft view on it.
Yeah. I mean, God really... I mean, if there is a God, he doesn't give a flying fuck about any of us, really.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't care if I masturbate or not.
Right. So I like the idea in the interest of ideas that really cannot be substantiated. I like the idea that this is a classroom, and we're all sent here to learn and evolve and be ready for the coming technological age. And so basically, when we're done with this life, we just sort of wake up in the age where we've already advanced past the point where we're immortal. We just got to make sure we're not bringing assholes to hang out in the real world with us. And this is sort of like a classroom for us to learn. We're infants. We're learning how to become.
Haven't we talked about this previously? I mean, I think I made the correlation that it sounded a lot like reincarnation.
Yeah, it's similar to reincarnation, and we may have talked about this before, man. Like I said, it's.
I mean, it's off the fly. It's all good.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so that's it is kind of similar.
Off the fly, it's off the cuff. You fucking idiot.
It's fine. I'll still love you and your glorious beard. It's okay.
You want to touch it?
No.
Oh.
It'll make me miss my beard. I do miss my beard. It's gonna have to come back.
You can live vicariously if you'd like.
No. Where you pull it off, man. Where your glory lies is in your mustache.
Yeah, I know.
And it's
you had to bring that up.
I'm sorry, but that's where your sexy is. You keep your sexy right there, just below your nose, in the mustache.
I've learned my lesson, and now I know how to take care of a mustache. Now,
yeah, so. it takes some practice, man. Like I said, I've ruined many a good beard, many a good mustache.
Trial and error.
Yeah. So yeah, man. What else did I have for you? So my idea with religion, and let me know what you think about this. My idea is, or with everything really, is sort of look at everything as best I can and take what information that is useful to me. Mm-hmm. So from Satanism, there was a lot that I agreed with, but it wasn't. But there was also a couple things that I didn't necessarily agree with. Okay. So like the I guess Satanism is very self-centric, is it not?
Yep.
And
we make no bones about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you, I guess a lot of people would have difficulty wrapping their head around someone being completely self-centric, having any sort of kindness or compassion.
Okay. Well, the religious right seems to peddle this idea that in order for you to be a passionate person, you have to be giving to everybody. You got to love your neighbor. You love everybody equally. And that to a human animal, that does not make sense whatsoever.
Amen.
The way that we
preach it, brother.
Yeah, the way that we do we understand selfishness. It's actually how we view altruism. In a sense, the only way you will do an altruistic act is if you get some sort of benefit from it, and that could be something as small as I'm contributing something to something that I value. So if you are, let's say, a humanitarian, and you get joy out of helping these societies that are falling apart, or you're going to Africa and helping the disease there, or you're opening up hospitals and educational foundations and giving food and water and all that, you get some sort of joy out of that. So the way we see altruism is that it's not entirely selfless, because it brings joy to us. So if there is a Satanist, for example, who wants to participate in these humanitarian goals, they should go out and do these things because it makes their life full of meaning.
See, man, that's sort of the idea I get from Satanism.
But then again, some Satanists
are just things I like. Some Satanists are just dicks.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hate to scoop you on that one. That's probably where it was going. But anyway, yeah, some Satanists are just dicks. I agree.
But the whole loving everybody equally just doesn't make sense to me.
That's got to be bullshit.
If I'm going to love somebody, it's going to be with my full emotions. Because if you love everybody, that just demeans the whole word. Really,
it does. There are different levels, like and even different kinds in different levels. Like I love my kids like way more than I love my wife, but I'm not gonna, I love my wife in a completely different way than I love my kids or my family, or it's not just it's more nuanced than just a switch, on or off. I think a lot of times people tend to simplify things in that way, and I really enjoyed that nuanced view on that very often misunderstood topic.
Yep.
Satanism.
Yes.
It's something that I think makes a lot of sense to people that actually bother to read any of what it has to say.
Yep.
But I think that a lot of people have trouble digesting it.
Yep.
Because of what it stands for.
It's taboo. And
yes, exactly. It's very taboo. And, atheism is one thing, but what about Satanism? Something that's, atheism is something we don't, we don't believe there's a God at all. Okay, well, what about the people that actively say that the other guy's right? Like their bad guy's real and he's right. I mean, that's got to scare the shit out of some people.
This idea isn't that old of an idea. You have authors like Mark Twain who talks about, for all the people who pray, nobody prays for Satan, the one sinner who really needed it.
Well, I always liked the idea that Satan was he's the illuminator. He brought knowledge to people.
What's funny is that story about him being the illuminator, it's not in the Bible whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah.
So where did I get that?
Actually, you would probably get that from the literature that happened after the Bible was published.
Okay.
Stories like Paradise Lost.
All right, but I mean, just the idea though, like in the Bible, like it does tell the story of Adam and Eve and the snake and the fruit, but not necessarily.
Oh yeah, there was definitely like a Promethean presence in the Bible.
But I think that saying that the snake was the bad guy in this because he brought knowledge, or he talked her into having knowledge, it's just funny. Wisdom of shit.
It's funny that the Bible is nowhere in the Bible is referenced that the snake was the devil. Until about
the snake's the fucking hero.
Until about Revelations, where Satan appears as different versions. So one of them being the snake.
The snake basically met these people, talked to them for like 5 minutes and went, "Jesus Christ, these idiots! Come with me. Come here. Come here. Eat this shit, please, because I can't fucking talk to you. I'm the only other goddamn thing that can talk in this thing on this whole fucking planet. Eat this shit, please, so I can have a conversation with you."
Yeah. I mean, it's the whole. That's how we view the whole Christian morality thing. It's a slave mentality. The reason why you don't want to have knowledge of good and evil is so that the big guy, you won't disagree with him whenever he tells you to do something.
Wasn't there an Inuit who was talking to a Christian missionary? Wasn't that whole story where they're like,
he's like,
it tells him that the great story of Jesus Christ and how he'll when he dies he'll get to go to heaven, and if he doesn't believe he'll get to go to hell. And so the Inuit asked him, what?
How do we get there?
Yeah, well, no, what if no one believes? Like, what if I've never heard of either? And the guy goes, oh, well, you get to go to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, well, then why did you tell me?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it just be better to be ignorant and go to heaven? I mean, that way you get to do whatever the fuck you want anyway. But the idea that there's this, big sky daddy up there that's, paying attention to all the little things you do. And no. And if there was, and it was only the Christians that got to go to heaven, fuck off. I don't want to go to heaven. Those people are miserable.
Have you actually read what the Bible says about what existence in heaven is like?
Isn't it something supposed to be like just praising all the time?
It's a big kiss-ass party.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Just a party, it's basically a church service.
If I go to hell and I'm being tortured, at least I have something to do.
Right, and they'll probably change it up, because the thing about it, you'll probably get used to seeing horrific things. They'll probably switch it up on you.
Same thing with heaven. You probably get used to paradise.
And you'll be, next to people who are like really cool people.
So, okay,
or your odds anyway would be better.
That's another question I like to ask Christians is that, whenever you die, is your memory going to be wiped? What's going to happen? Because you know that you have some people who did not achieve heaven and they're in hell.
Right,
being tortured.
Yeah, you going to feel good about that, or are you not going to want a steak every now and again?
How can you enjoy heaven when you know that your loved ones are burning?
Or the fact that you hadn't have a blowjob in the last 1,000 years.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to get those blowjobs in heaven?
Right, exactly. Who's going to give the blowjobs in heaven? That's what I want to know. Maybe it'll be the gay.
Maybe
people.
There's something to this 72 virgin thing.
Not really. I don't want to teach 72 dumb chicks how to fuck.
Well.
I mean, maybe there's some, innocence lost kind of, appeal to it, but it sounds exhausting. I'd rather some chicks that knew what the fuck they were doing at the very least.
Just give me one whore, I'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
And some coke.
Yeah, well, blow would be nice, just a little bit. Just take the edge off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, see? Gold, right there. That was a gold nugget. That was gold.
You're not going to be texting me throughout the show.
I might be. I mean, I know we're sitting right here, but I might be.
Go off. Piece of shit.
So you got a girlfriend, brother?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's going on? You got a lady friend?
Yeah.
You got a little lady friend there?
Yes.
They're watching you.
No.
They're in the walls.
We're talking about the devil, and they're watching us.
Yeah, these walls are really thin. This is a very piss-poor environment in which to record. I'm working on that.
Big Brother's watching us.
Well, yeah, obviously. We're that important.
Yeah. It actually just happened out of nowhere. I was on Facebook one day, and one of my friend of a friend posted a comment on what I posted, and I looked at her picture, and I was like, holy crap, she's beautiful. I have to say something. So I did.
Good.
And from then, we just started talking like 24/7.
So I'm glad. So the last guy that I had on, he was MGTOW guy, as I like to put him. He's not a MGTOW. He might have been an ex-MGTOW, or he at least subscribes to some of their earlier ideas. But he's a really cool dude, and he's a blogger. We disagree politically. He's a Trump supporter. But he's not entirely dumb. He seems like he's got a pretty decent head on his shoulders.
Okay.
So I talked to him about it, and that seems to be something that is it's never really been something that was on my mind before. Because the
MGTOW thing?
Yeah, or the whole men's rights activist, or even the feminist thing. I mean, it's just silly. It's funny to look at, and point to some of the memes that come out of it, and it's fun.
I think we mentioned on the previous show that I was on that I'm not really I really care for like political labels or anything like that, because those change more than my beliefs do.
Right.
Well, I guess it would be beliefs, but you know what I mean. Religious beliefs. So I really don't adhere to any political labeling. I think that's just a waste of time, because you can't fit everyone into a single box. And if you try, it's like you take the whole individual out of the equation.
Right. I agree.
So,
most people have more nuanced opinions on things than just, I'm voting for Trump because he's a Republican and he stands for God and Jesus. Praise the Lord.
But the whole MGTOW thing, I mean, sure, if you want to do that for the rest of your life, have fun. But at the very least, do not bitch about being single on your fucking blogs.
Right. So that's
because that's essentially a situation that you put yourself into.
Right. But all right. So here's my problem was hearing a member of my family, someone I grew up with, and someone I have the utmost respect for, say this asinine shit about women. Mm-hmm. I'm not a white knight in any way, shape, or form. I don't believe in the wage gap or a lot of the shit that the feminists have to say. The men's rights activists have some good points with, alimony and child support.
I don't see
custody. Even
I don't see men's rights activists interrupting speeches,
right?
Like they had in Canada when what was his name?
But also,
William Farrell.
Yeah, but also there's the crazy fucking side, like the MGTOW people, which they've seemed to have adopted this monochrome, and a lot of the original founders of the MGTOW idea have moved on. They disassociate themselves from it because of what it's become. And basically it's become a bunch of virgins or near virgins that know nothing about women, but have nothing but bad experiences with women, because either A, they don't take care of themselves, B, they don't conduct themselves properly, maybe they weren't, socially adjusted to it.
Like poor social skills.
Or maybe they just got the shit hand in life. They just got nothing to offer women. And so their experience with women is just being shat on by them. And so that's all they can espouse is nothing but hate for them, even though they don't truly know women as, they know their women's defense mechanisms. Because I think what they lack is they don't try to be friends with them. They always see women as maybe something to be conquered. It's a conquest because they're not getting laid. And I've tried to explain this to people, our people, and tried to explain them that sex is a very...
What do you mean, our people?
Our relative that
Okay.
that we share a... It's fucking Daniel. If you listen to my other shows, it's Daniel. Daniel, if you're listening to this, I fucking love you, dude. You're awesome, and I want you to come on the show, and I want you to talk to me. And if you're listening to my show and you enjoy anything that I've got to say, and you want to hear Daniel come on the show, his name is Daniel Rathbun, and I want you to find his ass. It's not hard. You know how to find people. And I want you to send him a message and let him know that he should come on the show. I don't think I've got that kind of following, but maybe if 10 people could get on there and at least send him a message, maybe he'd come on the show and we could talk about this bullshit.
The views and opinions on questionable content do not reflect the views and opinions of the
guests.
Does not reflect the opinions of the establishment.
That's fine. But
wait, aren't you? You are the establishment.
I am the establishment. Yeah. Here's my problem with it though. So to see him, put these stupid fucking ideas about women out there. It drives me insane because it reminds me of the same racist and closed-minded, bigoted bullshit that we got from the people we were raised from. And I had a greater opinion of that dude in my mind as far as, his reasoning ability. And I disagree with him, but I still love him to death. He's still, a great part of my life, and I want him in my life. I don't want him to run away and disappear just because his arguments are stupid. I'm going to argue against you, dude. It's because I love you, man. So come on the fucking show.
There's nothing but love here.
There's nothing but love here, man.
Love and coffee.
So, yes, great, glorious coffee.
And Satan.
Hail Satan. Yeah, man. Daniel, if you're listening to this, wipe that sand out of your vagina and get your ass on my show, and let's talk about this shit, man. We're adults, okay? You can run away and hide like a little preteen girl if you want, or you can come on my show and have a conversation with me. I tell you what, buddy, even if you don't want to come on my show and you just want to have a conversation with me, that's entirely cool too. Let me know when and where. I'll bring the beer. We'll hash the shit out. But come on, man. Find your testicles. Let's make it happen.
Oh, man. I live with him, right?
I know. You can tell him to listen, too. Oh, yeah.
Drama.
Oh, God. Gotta love it. It's delicious. You lap it up.
Yeah, I'm very concerned for him as a brother.
I'm just worried about the dude, Because you can't... All right, it seems like he's walking around through life with this huge fucking mountain of bullshit on his shoulders, and it's like, dude, life is a little bit more relaxed than that. Just let the shit go. Just let it go.
Yeah, the whole women are more concerned about money and looks.
Yeah. All right. So I tried to explain to him, if you've ever...
I'll give him one thing.
All right.
Money. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I know people who are in like these shitty ass jobs and they have their significant other.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
I know people that are being taken care of by their significant other. The male is being taken care of by the female financially.
Mm-hmm. And there's only one caveat about looks. It only counts for like that first second.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
But once you get past that first second and you realize the type of person that you're talking to, decent people at least.
Right. That's
Because
what matters. That's what really matters. Like
personality completely, at least for me, personality completely overrides looks.
Yes. Well, he tried
to an extent.
He tried to use some. He tried to use some bullshit quote from Hunter S. Thompson. I forget what it was. It was stupid. It was a legitimate quote from Hunter S. Thompson, but he was missing the point of it. He was trying to use it to show that you need or that just sex is fine. Like just sex is this great wonderful thing, and that's all I want. And so he's saying that's the only thing that's out there. And so which my response was no. Hunter S. Thompson was married and had kids, and here's a quote. He's saying sex without love is fucking useless. Forget the actual quote. It's much more witty than that. Go look it up. I'm not Hunter S. fucking Thompson. I love him, but I'm not him.
No, with the whole looks thing, there is a certain caveat. If you're like a wonderful person and you're not, the ideal woman or whatever, I can get over that because I enjoy my time with this person.
Right.
So their personality matches mine, and I can overlook that shit.
Right. The most amount of fun I've ever had with.
Matter of fact, the women that look ideal or the societal ideal, I don't want anything to do with
problem.
them.
A lot of people,
most of the time they turn out to be
so a lot of those people
I don't want to deal with.
A lot of those people that are stereotypically good-looking people, they have an easier time in social situations. They tend to be more drawn to them, so they spend more time in social situations, where they develop more in that direction, where they spend less time with introspection and being with themselves and thinking about their place in the universe and the nature of reality. And so antisocial people tend to make cooler people. Or people that are not stereotypically pretty and have that
not antisocial, more like introverts.
Yes, introverts. People that have those people seem to have a much deeper personality, and so they're much more enjoyable to spend time with because there's more to them. They're more of a person. So there was an idea. Once again, I'm horrible with names, folks. If you don't get this, I'm horrible with names. This isn't my idea. It's not original, but I love the idea, and I don't know who it's from. And it doesn't really fucking matter because it's a beautiful idea, and the idea is the part that matters. So the idea is that you aren't born with a soul. You don't just automatically are given this soul or this energy, whatever the fuck you want to call it, whatever you think it is. You're not born with it. You develop it.
Yeah.
And you develop it through introspection and self-analyzing and finding, I guess, mapping your experience.
Yeah, because as a baby, you're pretty much just like a meat robot until more parts are added.
Right, and as you get older, or at least in my experience as I've gotten older, it's sort of calmed down more. I can sort of feel my experience a bit more than just sort of running through like the crazy fucking person I have been for the past, for the first 20 years of my life.
I think you had to suffer a lot of existential crisis in order to get to that point.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, a lot of shit happened to me in a very short period of time, and I had to deal with that shit. And now that I've dealt with that shit, my life is sort of calming down. It's I'm better able to feel where I am, I guess. I don't know. It seems like you to me, it does seem like it's something that you do need to you grow a soul. You aren't born with one.
Yeah. So I guess that would be like a nurture or nature sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because when you're very young, you're very susceptible to what's around you.
But I grew up
that would probably explain why Christianity is still a huge thing today.
Well, yes. It's
get them while they're young.
A lot of all religions, really. But even...
I don't know. Well, yeah, okay, the three Abrahamic faiths, most definitely. Well,
even with me, it's not... I grew up pretty fucking weird. And... I don't know. I like to think not a lot of it had any impact on me. Like I was able to protect myself from a bunch of it using logic, which is a great fucking tool.
Logic, what's that?
And whatever happened to the Cult of Dusty? I enjoyed his videos. He was an angry motherfucker from Mississippi, I think.
Meh.
He did atheist videos.
I know who you're talking about.
I like the Cult of Dusty.
I don't like him.
Really?
Meh.
At first, I liked him. Like I said, it's been a long time. So
okay. When I watch his videos, I can definitely see the appeal. But once you get him onto a podcast and he's not being scripted,
Oh no, he was definitely scripted, and that's fine.
Did you hear the whole dispute between him and Matt Dillahunty?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, was it good?
Well, I mean, look it up on YouTube. The Drunken Peasants talk about it.
Okay, all right. I do like me some Drunken Peasants.
They have Matt Dillahunty as their host.
Oh!
Or not their host, guest.
Fucking TJ was on Joe Rogan as well. Yeah, he's done Joe Rogan's show.
I did not know that.
Yeah, if you can't tell, I'm a huge Joe Rogan fanboy. I just am.
How well did he do?
He did all right. He was kind of quiet. It wasn't bad. It was a short show.
I think it was because he realized he was on somebody else's show, so he kind of had to restrain himself.
Right.
If you watch him on his own show, he's like, fuck this, fuck that.
Well, he goes a lot into where he came from, like where he grew up in Louisiana and his history.
That blows my mind.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, I'm not the only one.
I know, right? Excuse me. But yeah, he goes into a lot about his history and where he comes from, his dad and that whole story. And he goes into a lot of like about himself, how the other guys on the show. Give me names. Scotty,
Ben,
and Ben. How they take care of his ass.
Paul's ego.
Yeah,
I love Paul's ego.
How he needs them really in his life because he's a very disorganized and miserable person. Yeah. But he needs them in his life to sort of keep him on track. He said if it wasn't for them, he'd have never even made it to Joe's show. He goes, they woke me up and got me dressed and fucking sit me here. Because I just, come on the show and make a lot of noise. And
he's a very truthful person.
That's
what I like about him. He makes no bones about his character.
Well, I think that's kind of what you have to be if you're going to be someone that's seen as genuine, really. You have to be totally honest with who you are and your position in everything.
Talking about being genuine and authentic. Who you voting for?
Oh shit!
I think it's going to come down between Hillary and Trump, and I don't like either one of them.
If it's Hillary or Trump, I'm voting. I'm going to vote. What's the fucking libertarian?
Johnson.
Fuckhead? Is it Johnson?
Johnson.
Yeah, that's what I'll vote for.
Phil the Johnson.
Yeah, that's the closest thing to my. There's a lot of that he goes along with that I don't necessarily agree with, but he's the closest fucking thing I got. Like, if Bernie's not on there, then I ain't doing it. Otherwise, I'd vote for Bernie.
I'm going MGTOW. I'm opting out.
You're opting out. All right, men going his own way. Yeah. Or no, it'd be VGTOW. Only it's not the virgins going their own way, as this author tended to put it, which I thought was pretty funny. It would be voters going their own way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all rigged anyway.
Oh, of course. We're an oligarchy, people. We are an oligarchy. Look at how Bernie Sanders was treated to this whole process.
I will say this, even though Bernie will most likely not be able to catch up to Hillary at this point. At the very least, there's been like an awakening within like politics.
Oh, I think so.
I think people are fine. There's been a lot more people recognizing the system for what it is, and people are getting pissed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, finally!
Well, I think it's starting to fucking matter what the government does. Like we got some shit that we need to fix, and we've got some pretty good solutions. We're doing really good out there, but our government seems to be fucking us at every chance they can possibly get. And it's primarily, it's not like there's I say the government. I don't mean any one particular individual in the government is fucking us. I mean it's inefficient. It's just a bad way of doing things. I prefer like a direct democracy. I think that would be a much no direct democracy. I think direct democracy would be better. No. You think so because stupid people tend to vote stupidly. So here's my idea for a direct democracy. And it's not a just because we voted like we're going to teach
the thing I have
astrology
against direct democracy is that it's just the popular idea wins, not necessarily the right one.
I agree. So here's my idea. With the coming developments in AI and the interest in like blockchain and disorganized organizations, disorganized businesses, even disorganized housing, like I think that what we need is a truly altruistic AI.
Who's going to program that AI?
I have no idea, but they'll probably be wildly wealthy. And it's not going to be any one individual, because it's a project like that. It needs to be a Manhattan project sort of kind of thing, so everybody has access to it and everybody knows what's going on. A real Manhattan project, not like some of the shit we tend to keep secret. But it's going to have to be a group effort. It's not something that one person can sort of program. But that way, I mean, it would be efficient. It'd be a single point of making decisions and getting decisions done. It would be tapped into what everybody truly wanted and what was truly best for all of the people. So even if all of the people voted for something that was absolutely ridiculous and had no basis whatsoever in reality, it could prevent it from happening. Because that's unfortunately a strength of a leader is someone who can make a decision that is for the better of the people, but not necessarily the popular vote. What seems to be the problem with today's politicians, so they tend to they try and play to get reelected. They don't play into what would better us as a country.
Or we can just go full anarchy and just throw it all out.
Well, that's also the idea that
start
it
from
is
scratch.
It is technically anarchy. That's what it is. There is no. You're doing pretty much whatever it is that you're wanting to do, as long as you're not hurting anyone. All agreements, licensing, all of that is done through a disorganized organization. So it's look up DAO. It's fascinating.
DAO, I think.
Yes. So everybody owns a piece of the organization. Everybody owns. I'm horrible explaining things. So everybody owns a tiny piece of the business or the organization, right? And we all sort of work on. So we all need basic things. So that's the first thing to get out of the way. We all need food, shelter. We'll all need water. Basic things, healthcare, stuff like that. That all have to be taken.
So like a democratic socialism.
Yes, pretty much. So we'll all need that, and that will be taken care of by robotics, automation, and AI. That will all be taken care of.
I think we would be fine with democratic socialists with a mixture of capitalist economy.
Well, yeah, that would have to be, but yeah, so we're always going to want things, right? So any of the things that we want above and beyond, we have to figure out a way to do that. Yep. And that's where our creativity and if you don't want to do anything, if you want to be a fat fuck and sit on the goddamn couch and waste away into nothing and die early, that's
what
fine.
I didn't understand when Daniel was on the show and he was defending the whole 7-hour work week.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. If you want to be
40-hour work week, rather.
Right, I'm totally okay with somebody sitting on their ass and eating Cheetos until they die. I don't care.
I would like to live and not.
Right, I would like to live.
I would like to live and not concern most of my life with trying to survive.
Right, exactly.
I would rather be doing
something creative, something you wanted to do,
something that can actually benefit from what I do.
Right, and that's something that all of us want.
Not just clocking in and loading in cars.
Right, that's what all of us really want to do. Like that's none of it. And if there is a calling that you have, to make the world a better place, then that's great. Like that's something you should definitely follow. That's something you want to do. But forcing people into these boxes to work jobs that they don't need, to do shit that they don't want.
We just got to be careful that we don't end up like communist Russia, where the workers there they do the bare minimum and they get paid the same amount as the person that's busting his ass.
Of course. But what I'm saying is with automation and AI, there would be no need for that person to bust their ass.
Correct.
And the work that you would do would be on a volunteer basis, like most of anything professional that you did. You would have there's a guy, Nathan Waters, he was on previously. He describes it as sort of a D&D character sheet, actually. Cool. So you've got I'm a level 60 network engineer, a level 20 programmer, level 10 author. You have different skill ranks, and that is your resume.
And you just reminded me of Demolition Man. There's a scene where whenever Sylvester Stallone gets basically unfrozen, the computers program into him a certain skill set that he learned based on his personality, and he was sitting idly on his couch and he just starts knitting.
But that's what I'm saying. So that would be your level, right? And so through the network connection or through the disorganized organization, you would be called upon. So, okay, we need, knitted socks. There are, 800,000 people in the world that need knitted socks. These kind of people really enjoy knitting. Hey, man, go ahead and knit some socks. That's what you're getting paid to do. And it's all organized in the back end by an AI. Like it's intelligent enough it has to be plugged into every single one of us. It has to know truly every single one of us. And we will essentially be creating God. I think that if you look at nature and where that comes from, you start with smaller organisms, and they tend to build frameworks and structures for larger organisms, even all the way back to DNA and RNA. Like they're smaller structures to build basically a lattice work for other structures to be built. DNA codes for the production of different proteins, right? You've got, we're made up of a bunch of different, or even all animals, they're made up of different gut bacteria.
Do you believe that society is a superorganism?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that we are the harbinger for the next form of life, which is going to be this God thing that we create and ultimately become a part of.
And probably get killed by it.
Probably, but come on, how awesome would that be? Let's make it. Look, it's boring enough as it is.
It's gonna be Final Fantasy fucking 2000 or whatever.
Look, life is ridiculous.
We create a god and it kills us.
Life is ridiculous. No one's supposed to be anywhere for any particular reason. Money's made up. None of that shit matters. Let's make it. Come on. So what if it kills us? Oh no. Let's enjoy the ride a little bit.
I'd rather be my own god. That'd be cool.
Yeah, all right. Well, okay, so what in this AI future you want to be your own god? That's fine. It plugs you into a reality where you are.
Then the machine would be my god.
Yeah, but you don't know anything about it because your reality is simulated so perfectly that there is no difference between you being God.
Well, then I'm just an idiot living in a false reality.
Or you could already be an idiot living in a false reality. How do you know?
Could be. Haha.
Just saying.
Touche.
Yeah. See? Maybe one day, like I said, it's all classroom, man. And we're getting we're just going through class and we're learning some shit. We're learning about life. And then one day we're going to wake up and we're going to be like, holy shit, they're going to pull the fucking tubes out of our back of our head. And we're going to be like, hey man, welcome to the future. You're cool as shit now. Come on in. We'll show you how to run the universe.
Ever heard of the theory that the Bible is supposed to lead people away from Christianity?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And that the atheists actually end up in heaven?
That's a brilliant theory. That's amazing. So
it's like the Bible was a test to see if you were an idiot or not.
That's brilliant. Maybe that's all religion. It's just it's a test to see how much of an idiot you are.
Or it can just amount to nothing.
It could be. Or the Jews could be right.
We all end up in the same place.
That's true. It depends on what sect you follow, really.
It's weird. The original Jewish tradition.
There's
no hell. There's Sheol.
Yeah,
that's what it's called. It's basically a Hebrew underworld.
Well, even a lot of the, older traditions, their ideas of hell they're very, very tame compared to the control that was leveraged by the Catholic Church, which is where a lot of that rhetoric comes from.
If there was a hell, I would imagine it'd be like Hellraiser. Because eventually, think about it. You've been given this. You have a whole eternity of going through pain and torture that eventually just becomes pleasure.
Yeah, it's just the thing that you're accustomed to.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. See, I would like to think that anything that is capable of creating reality really wouldn't give a shit about half the things that. I don't think so. I don't think that the people that like the Christians or any of the crazy people the cool people, there's a separation, right? You got the decently minded, really cool people to hang out with.
Yeah, I know a few people who are really superstitious,
mm-hmm.
but for some reason, you talk about any other subject, they are the most smartest people you've ever
totally
talked to.
Rational. Just I just want what I'm saying. So you get the crazy Bible thumpers, right? And they don't get to come into cool people heaven until they've figured it out a little bit. Mm-hmm. So they get to stay in the meat cooker or in the simulated reality where we are until they figure it out, and then they get to pull themselves into this reality. And until then, they just get to keep reliving the roaring technological revolution, which is the where we are in. The roaring age of the technological revolution, the early 20s, the early 2020s.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, well, maybe that's just kind of how it goes. If we can if it's possible for us to eliminate death, right? it's possible for anyone really to eliminate death. So how do we know that we haven't already done it and we're just hanging out learning?
Then we're just doing mental masturbation.
Yeah, pretty much. That's all this is.
Cool.
I mean, ultimately,
so long as we're clear.
What I mean, I'm not saying you can prove any of this, but ultimately, prove anything else as that is anywhere near as insane. You can't.
Wait, run that by me again, because I don't think I caught that.
All right, so my idea is just as ridiculous as any other idea that's out there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I don't know. There are some ridiculous ideas out there, but my idea is pretty fucking ridiculous.
Within the bounds of reality, some are more provable than others.
Yes. So within the bounds of reality, I think my idea makes a bit more sense than others, but there are nuances within
I'm pretty
others.
sure everybody says that at one point or another.
Yeah, well, but that's the lovely thing about my idea is it is a God of the gaps, but it's not something I have to follow. There's no dogma. You just sort of look at it and do the best you can with each day. Nobody's perfect. You're going to have shitty days. You're going to snap at people sometimes, but for the most part, just be a cool dude. That's all that really fucking matters.
Or you can just, do what you really want to do and just go out and stab people.
No, see, you can't do that. If you really want to stab some people, you should probably go seek some help.
By the way, that was not an actual belief of mine. That was a jab at my brother.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, so if you haven't listened to the earlier episodes, please go listen. If you enjoy Cringe Fest, go listen.
If you're a masochist.
Yes. If you hate your ears, go listen to Masters of the Universe and what was the other
Masters
one?
of the Universe was all right.
All right, that's the one with Jess. No, Masters of the Universe is the first one. Masters of the Universe is okay. So first you got to get a little understanding of this guy. He's not a completely wrong person. He has some decent ideas about the world. He's not completely,
It's just like it's the same thing with my Christian friend who's super superstitious. Like he's a smart guy, but when it comes to this thing, this one little
that cognitive dissonance. Yeah, I know. So, but yeah, if you enjoy cringe videos, go check him out. It's a great show. What was the next one? It's the one right after Masters.
It was
of the
like
Universe.
feminazi something. Communist feminazi.
Communist feminazi. That's it.
Yeah.
Go listen to that one. That was with my buddy Jess and Daniel.
I've been rewatching that.
It's a great episode, and for two, you get to hear some great cringy material. Like I think that the only thing keeping me from stabbing people really is my 9 to 5. And honestly, I think it's my 9 to 5 that's bringing me closer to stabbing people because my 9 to 5 is fucking miserable. So why Satanism? Why not just an atheist? What's your appeal to Satanism as opposed to just being like, I'm an atheist?
Well, I think the whole appeal is that I grew up in a Christian home, so ceremony and dogma, ritual, they had a certain impact on me. Like mythology had an impact on me, and so when I actually discovered Satanism for myself, I was considering myself an atheist. And I just felt like, the argument about the God-sized hole that's left in your heart.
You just felt like something was missing.
I felt like something was missing. So I was like, well, maybe ritualizing and stuff like that maybe had some sort of impact that I'm just missing. So I looked into other religions. Not too seriously. Matter of fact, I looked at the Church of Satan website. It's like, I need a laugh. And then I started reading it. I started reading all their the information they had on there, and I'm like,
a lot of it makes sense.
Why not? I mean, they're kind of kooky. At first,
they're all kind of kooky.
And I was like, yeah. I mean, we look at ritual as something that's self-fulfilling. It's
fun.
It's emotional gratification. Some people get their rocks off to it, and it to some symbols is still important to the human animal. I'm like, yep, that makes a lot of sense to me.
I've got a man and his symbols right there. Yep.
And specifically Satanism, because after you read the philosophy, I've been around where the atheist community was starting to get a little bit more dogmatic. You know, the atheism plus.
Oh,
crap.
good God!
Yeah.
Oh, those people.
And
Aren't they fun?
I felt like, yeah, I felt like, you know, I don't mind if I'm associated with them. The atheism plus thing, what it had going for it was that it had positive claims, positive beliefs.
Hmm?
When you get right down to it, atheism is not a positive claim.
No.
It's basically an answer to what you don't believe.
Right.
It's essentially, whenever someone asks you about your beliefs, you say, oh, I'm homeless. It's essentially the same thing.
Hmm?
I don't believe in a God. Well, what about the other beliefs that you take into account? And Satanism has been the only one that has expressed the same ideas that I agreed with.
I see. So it's sort of a philosophy.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So in my experience, I've sort of taken the long way around. I've done the same. I've studied a lot of different religions, a lot of spiritual paths. I've taken a lot from Buddhism. I've taken a lot from... There's a lot in Satanism that I really identified with. Same thing with Wiccan and all that kind of good stuff. I've sort of pulled together my own sort of understanding of what my religion is. Now, if somebody were to ask me, you know, do I believe in God? And no, I'm an atheist. But I still believe a lot of weird fucking things. Not necessarily... I mean, and a lot of them, they aren't... If a piece of science comes along and says, like, I err on the side of caution. So there's not, like, a lot of weird things that I believe that are way fucking out there. They're always within the realm of possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't believe in, like, you know, energy healing and crystals and none of that shit. No, sorry. Anytime somebody claims...
I believe in doctors.
Yeah. Go see a doctor.
Medicine.
Yes. I mean, there's some, you know, pseudoscience within the whole pharmaceutical industry and stuff like that. But it's still better than, you know, I'm going to heal myself with crystals and my cancer went away because I prayed to God.
Or I don't believe in vaccines.
Yeah, oh God, those idiots. So I tend to, I have rational beliefs. But I've taken bits and pieces. Like for a while I did consider, you know, calling myself a Buddhist, but not really, because I'm not into a lot of it. So are you still attached to the ritual? Like, why do you continue on with the Satanism monochrome instead of moving on, I guess, or is it just
because Satanism can be molded to beliefs? There is a foundation, and it's from that foundation that Satanism is, and this is a religion of the left-hand path, which is a individually structured spiritual path. It's not something that you get from on high or from the writings of somebody else. I just agree with this. Like, well, maybe 80%. There are some things that kind of get under my skin.
Yeah,
but then again, they're not really important to the philosophy.
Right.
At the end of the day, my beliefs are my own, and Satanism connects with it very well, and I can do with it whatever I please.
Well, that's good, man. At least you're following your own creed, man. That's always been a big problem with members of our family. We tend
it has a dark aesthetic, and I just love it.
Yeah, that's true. That's one thing growing up in our family. You do appreciate some dark humor and some of the darker spaces.
I have a funny story related to that. My friend was having trouble with... he was in this polyamorous relationship, but it was more active than mine. So there was this one guy who was giving him trouble. And...
So was it a jealousy problem he was having, or what was the...
Not my friend, but this other guy that was involved.
I see. He was having jealousy trouble.
Yes.
I got it.
And what was funny is that I used to date this girl that this guy used to date. Mm-hmm. And he found out some information about me. He found out that I was a Satanist. And he's like, oh, well,
around here, that's fucking ammunition.
He's like, well, he's just a Satanist to get laid. It's coming from the same guy.
Once
who
again,
says,
getting laid is a very, very poor motivation. Up until the point, like, when you're not getting laid, it's a pretty good motivation.
This is coming from
when you
the
are
same-
getting laid, no.
this is coming from the same guy who is essentially a feminist just to get laid.
Oh, no, white knight. Oh,
Yeah.
white knights.
But the funny part about it is, it does get me laid.
Well, you know, chicks are attracted to that.
if
as a
anything,
thing.
if anything, it's something to talk about.
It's not, so I think
It's not like, oh yeah, here's your free pussy card. It's
right. So
hey, here's something weird and wacky about me.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of the pickup artist guys, they like to put out there that, like, you know, women are attracted to these big buff men and they're alpha men and blah blah blah. No. What women are attracted to are dudes that are interested in something.
Yeah,
dudes that are passionate about something, and dudes that are not only passionate about something, but dudes that are doing something about it, that are active in their passion.
Yeah.
That's what women like.
Yeah, my current wife, who is about to be my ex, she said the one thing that attracted her to me was that I looked like the type of person who was a gamer or a nerd. I was basically passionate about this one thing that she found
Right.
passionate about as well.
That's what
And
women
so
want.
an attraction occurred.
Well, if you believe the conversations that I've had with Daniel, then women just make up things they're interested in, just to get into a guy's wallet. And there's never been an instance where a woman and a man has had a genuine interest together and built a relationship around that. That has never happened ever in the history of ever.
Well, let's flip the script. Would you be interested in a woman that didn't have a job or supported herself?
No, I don't think he would. That's very, very good. I don't rather like that. I don't think he would. He might, though. He might think that that's their natural places, you know, to stay at home and raise a family.
If he doesn't fit into that paradigm, who's to say that women fit into the opposite?
That's very true. So, I mean, very few people. There are some. Don't get me wrong, but very few people are willing to.
Yeah, I mean,
to do that, and that's more than acceptable.
to each their own.
Yeah, exactly. The economy's fucking hard out there, man.
But there's not.
I know. It's a dangerous road. Well, sir, we are at an hour and 8 minutes, and it has been nothing but a pleasure. It's obviously not going to be an hour and 8 minutes after the edit, so there's going to be a couple of chops, but they're hardly going to be anything. That was a great fucking episode. I really appreciate you coming on, and I think you get a much better idea this time around about what the show's about and how it sort of flows. Because last time it was a bit of a mess. I'm still editing it.
Well, it's like 3 hours worth of conversations, and there
and
was
it
no
did
topic
ramble.
whatsoever.
Yeah, I did ramble a lot. I didn't do any homework. I thought it would be just a walk in the park, but we had such a broad range of topics to pick from that I really
you also
needed
have to understand that we haven't seen each other in freaking years.
Yeah,
so we're like, what are you doing? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? What do you think about this?
So it was something that needed to be pared down and given sort of a direction.
Yep.
And I think that's what we've accomplished here. And hopefully in the future we'll do the same. But it's always a pleasure, man. And as always, if there's any time, anywhere that you want to give me a call, come on the show, have anybody you want to come on the show, if there's anything you're doing socially, an art exhibit, you playing any music, anything like that, anything your friends are interested in, especially locally, by all means, give me a shout. I want to hear about it. I want my listeners to hear about it. And I want you to have a wonderful fucking day, sir.